Saturday, 5th of November, then we're going over to the Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. God, that's easy for me to say. It's a DAZN card, and it is Dimitri Bivol versus Zurdo Ramirez. Great fight, great light heavyweight fight. Two of the top guys up there. Quite a tough one to call. We're going to make some predictions on this one. Alex, you go first this time. What are you making of this fight, this event? Give us some thoughts, mate.
I think it could be a interesting matchup. Zurdo is this big, tall, come forward Mexican fighter. Can box, but we see in light heavyweight he hasn't really been doing that. He's been using that size to really put pressure on guys and to burst some pipes. Bivol, we saw what he did against the last Mexican fighter, Canelo. Bivol can box. He has a beautiful 1-2-1. He's not afraid to fight you off. There's no special effects with Bivol, but he's very efficient, very effective. Can fight going backwards, and picks his shots well in the pocket, and will push you back to get you off. So, I do favor Bivol. I do think it's going to be a unanimous decision. I'm sure there may be a couple, maybe in the beginning it's going to be a little more difficult, but as times goes on, I think Bivol will make it a clear unanimous decision win for him.
Okay. Josh, give us your thoughts and your prediction as well, please.
Oh, indeed. Two fighters that I actually like. I like both fighters. I've actually had the opportunity to see both fighters live multiple times. In the case of Bivol, Bivol being next to him, he's very much. Some people don't know, but even though he's seemingly on the smaller side for a light heavyweight, he's actually not a very small guy from that perspective. So he does have some pretty decent size to him. That being said, Gilberto Ramirez, I mean, huge. It's amazing that he was actually making 168 pounds. I got to see him when he fought Jesse Hart back in 2017 out in Arizona. Exciting. The crowd and everything came out and they supported him. So it was certainly a shock to see sort of that lull in his career shortly there after that second fight with Hart. But I'm glad that he's back in the mix, because I, for one, have always felt that he's a pretty exciting fighter, and he has the look of a fighter when you see him in there. I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm going to go with my guy Bivol there just because I like what he offers, his experience as well, and the fact that I do think that if you look at it just for boxer from a skill standpoint, I give a slight edge to Bivol, but I think that Gilberto Ramirez is going to challenge him throughout, and Bivol is going to have to be on his game, I believe, all 12 rounds just to make sure that he's attentive to Gilberto Ramirez offensively. So I'm going Bivol for a decision. Might be a close one, but certainly a great fight, a great matchup stylistically as well.
Yep, I think I'm on board with that. I favour Bivol to get the win on points. You're just looking at Gilberto Ramirez's record, just as you was talking there, and he's actually on a bit of a knockout streak. He's won every fight since 2018. So, well, in 2019, 20, 21, 21, 22, all won by stoppage. I think he's got possibly the biggest unbeaten record at the moment of any world champion. Not that really matters these days. But yeah, it's still quite an impressive record. 44-0, 30 knockouts. But this is definitely a big step up for him, isn't it? In Dimitri Bivol, I think Bivol just so technically sound and polished, and I'd really like to see Bivol let his hands go a lot more. I think he's always had the potential to be more destructive if he wants to, but he just always seems to be content to work his way to victory on points. So, but yeah, I favour Dimitri Bivol in this one. I think he will continue his unbeaten record, and he gets another top name on his record, and hopefully we get to see him against Beterbiev in the not too distant future. That's the big fight that I want to see. That's probably the biggest fight I want to see in the whole sport for the time being.
You ever heard of Spence versus Crawford?
Nah,
Or is
bollocks. Bollocks to them. Don't care about those boys anymore.
Understand.
They've had it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Once upon a time.
yeah,
Yikes.
a couple of weeks ago, yeah, maybe, but nah, I've had it. I've had it with them. Okay, on the undercard, there's some pretty interesting fights here. There's
Yeah.
Rakimov, who I'm trying to picture if I've seen him.
A draw with
before.
Jojo Diaz.
Draw with Jojo
Okay.
Diaz. Against Delphi Barrett, who pretty sure he beat Korbanov not too long back.
He's got to win it over the Slayer, Kiko Martinez, who just had a
Martinez.
big win.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was going to say this is his first world title fight, right? So this is his introduction to that world stage. We'll see how he does, but I think he's solid.
Yeah, he had that shock upset loss against Ronnie Clark, bit of a journeyman quite a few years back that set him back slightly. But yeah, he's been on a bit of a decent run since then. I think he's from my neck of the woods up in Manchester, so it'd be quite interesting to see how he does against Rakimov, who is a Tajikistani fighter. Okay, so you'd imagine that he might be similar to the Uzbekistan type and the Russian fighters, where they've got a good pedigree and good, probably a good amateur style. It looks like he can bang a bit, 13 KOs and 16 wins. It'd be quite interesting to see what the actual odds on this are and who the favourite would be. I'm not sure if you two know of Rakimov at all.
No, I do not.
No.
I do remember the Joseph Diaz fight, but I just have to. But I was trying to think back on it. I do think that there were moments where they were exchanging some pretty heavy leather in that fight. But yeah, outside of that, I don't really recall him. But of course, you never know with those guys from that part of Eastern Europe over there. Hey, they're usually tough and fairly skilled.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And there's also the women's title fight on there. I think this is the one that you alluded to before, Alex. Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron, who is from the UK. She's an unbeaten 16-0. Not that we know much about the women's side of things, but
Look at that, vacant belts. That's crazy. They're making this undisputed fight with two of the major belts vacant. As vacant. That's ugh.
well, there you go. Well, who will be favourite for this one then? Is McCaskill? I know she got them a couple of losses, but they were both came earlier on. One to Katie Taylor, and then the second fight in a 4-rounder. Give us some thoughts, Alex.
I would assume McCaskill is
Yeah.
the favorite. I mean, she's a former undisputed welterweight champion. Like you said, one of her losses to Katie Taylor, and I think that was pretty early in her career, even though she only has 14 fights. But since then, man, she's been pounding some victories out. She even beat what's her name, Cecilia Brakes, right? Brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is she, like, German or
Twice.
Yeah, beat her
Twice in a
twice.
row,
Yeah. So I mean, I think McCaskill this fight is made for her to win, to get in position to fight Katie Taylor again. I think this fight card is on DAZN. So.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yep. And I'll just say, I'm a fan of the women's side for sure, especially Jessica McCaskill. If I was downstairs, I'd pull out my Jessica McCaskill shirt.
Oh, Lord.
I can't
More
get it at the
merch.
moment, but of course, but no, I think this is a very good matchup. Chantel Cameron is pretty good. She looked good in her last fight out against McGee, and she really boxed well. I believe that was her last opponent. I do think that the favorite, of course, McGee was before that, so Bustos, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
she looked good, both fights, really. But I do think that Jessica McCaskill is the favorite, and she's been in impressive form as of late. She's definitely a better fighter than what she was when she fought Katie Taylor the first time, and she looks to be in great shape as well. So I'm going to be leaning towards McCaskill for a decision in this particular fight, but I think it'll be a good one for sure.
Absolutely hate McCaskill's style. I think it's disgusting. Utterly. But yeah, you're right. She's in shape and she's game. I mean, she's throwing bangers. It's not like McCaskill's in there, just pawing at you. She's coming in there to get you out.
Yeah, I was familiar with Ilma Ibarra, who McCaskill fought in their last fight, and I thought Ibarra was going to put up more of a fight, but man, McCaskill pretty much just dominated her.
Made her
I was
quit.
a little bit disappointed, as a matter of fact, because I didn't think Ibarra would quit. But yeah, you're right, she did.
All right. Coolio. Also on that undercard, then it looks like the Galali fight and Khalidi fight. I guess they are brothers, if I'm correct.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's I think you've Khalid Mafai, that's the one that got knocked out by Chocolatito or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
time
so,
out.
yeah, that is.
Fight back. So good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and-
yeah. I like the younger one. I think he looks pretty solid so far. But of course, we have to see him as he goes on.
Yeah, he's got a
Look
little
at
bit of hype about him. I think did he have? I think he was quite a successful amateur, possibly. So
Olympian.
so there's been a bit of a fanfare about him turning pro and getting some early wins. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. Not a bad card really.
Yeah.